What's up, guys? Most trash show on YouTube, Garage Goons, episode 26, baby. 26. And I'm assuming you already saw the title, the thumbnail, whatever. And today I want to talk about how the game played differently and how it's changed. I think the most obvious position to talk about here is quarterback. There's been other changes at other positions, but quarterback is the most obvious one. When you think about in your mind and use your eyes, if you're in your 30s or 40s, great quarterbacks, who comes to mind? Guys like maybe Joe Montana, Tom Brady, um, you know, Peyton Manning. There's a whole Brett Favre. There's a whole litany of quarterbacks that you think of. But if you ask a 20-year-old to close their eyes and think of all of the great quarterbacks, who do they picture? They're probably picturing Pat Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, maybe. There's other guys too, obviously Josh Allen, Justin Herbert. The list goes on, but I think that there has been a significant change in how the game is played, how it's coached, how it's scouted, how GMs think of guys now. 10, 15, 20 years ago, what did you want out of a quarterback coming out of a draft? You wanted a big arm, you wanted him to be smart, and you wanted him to be tough. And you wanted him to, stand tall in the pocket and stare down the barrel and take hits and still get the throw off and have, balls of steel. And then a couple of people came along, Donovan McNabb in the early 2000s, great scrambler. Mike Vick, early 2000s, probably the greatest scrambler I've ever seen with my own two eyes. Sometimes I see Lamar Jackson do stuff that reminds me of him, but to me, maybe it's just bias because of where I was and how I was feeling when I first saw Mike Vick. But he was incredible to watch. But they used to say things like, wow, what a great athlete. Mike Vick's like a running back out there. Mike Vick could have played so many different positions. They didn't just say Mike Vick's a great quarterback. Even the Nike commercial back then, the Mike Vick experience, didn't show him standing in the pocket, breaking a tackle, and then breaking off a run. It was literally like hike, okay, Vick, run. Vick's number one job wasn't to run. It was to throw the ball. And I think now there's been offensive game plans and strategies that revolve around not just saying, okay, QB option. That used to be the running play for the quarterback used to be the QB option. You run out to the right or to the left. Your running back is about 6 paces away from you, and you make the linebacker choose between which one of you. And whichever one he chooses to go after, the other guy gets the ball. The quarterback would either keep it and keep running, or he would toss the ball to the running back, and the running back would go. And then there was like plays like, they used to call it QB boot, where basically instead of taking a normal, 8-step drop or 7-step drop or 3-step drop, he would intentionally, the ball would snap from either the pistol or the shotgun, and he would roll out this way, and he would have essentially 2 reads. You'd have a drag coming around over in the 5-yard area, 5 to 10-yard area, with either the tight end or the slot receiver, and then you would have another receiver behind it. So the defense is either going to stay deep to cover the deep threat, or you check it down to your tight end, and then usually the running back is over here in the flat as you're rolling out, so you can still chuck it over to him. Now, with the Harbaugh era and all the success that he had with read option, and Colin Kaepernick, who we now know is not a good quarterback. I mean, Colin Kaepernick at his peak, was, a mid 60s completion percentage, which you can get to a Super Bowl that way. You can. But if that's your pinnacle, then, he was never elite, at least from a throwing perspective. But defenses and D coordinators didn't know how to guard against the read option. And now read option is baked into every team to the point where guys that can't run at all are running a significant amount of plays out of read option, because if you don't have it in your offense, you're just behind. You're behind the curve. You're playing 90s, early 2000s football, and it makes you predictable, and it makes you easier to defend. And a lot of pushback I've heard from people saying, "Oh, well, there's still room for both types of quarterback." Show me a quarterback who's been drafted in recent years, who looks like they're going to be on a team for a long time, that doesn't have mobility. Does Mac Jones blow you away? When you watch Mac Jones, is he the kind of guy where you're like, wow, that guy's going to be there for a long time? I don't think so. Zippy Zappy, or whatever that dude's name is, came in and basically did the same thing he does. It's just for a long time. We had great athletes at the quarterback position, guys. We really did. And a lot of it was squandered because the coaches didn't have the vision necessary to make these guys great. If you want an example, there's plenty, but the one that really comes to mind is like Cam Newton. Ron Rivera did not know how to get the best out of Cam Newton, in my opinion. And that's with him winning an MVP and going to the Super Bowl. And people like to say, oh, Cam was never a good thrower. Well, he was asked to play early 2000s football with a 260-pound, 6'6", 6'4", somewhere in there, 6'5" frame, and crazy athleticism. And he's smart, and he made good reads, if you ask me. And also, by the way, he was robbed of ever having a good receiver. He had Steve Smith there for 1 year. And then after that, the best guy that ever played with him was I don't know, Kenny Britt? Who was the fucking tall guy that had one good year with him? Anyways, it doesn't matter. His receiving core over his career is just sorry. Now, John Harbaugh, the other Harbaugh, said, man, fuck the status quo. We have this elite, smart, intelligent, athletic, fast, just elusive guy, and I'm going to build an offense around it. Be damned. Because before, they were trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. You know what I'm saying? They were trying to they're like, okay, we have all these extra tools, but we don't need that shit. And then at the time, the attitude was, okay, if nothing's open downfield, nothing's available, just go run it. No big deal. Get out of the pocket and do what you can. But no, there's literally they are run blocking on certain passing downs. So that way, all they have to do is make 1 or 2 reads real fast. If it's not there, they can tuck it, and the O-line is already responding to the quarterback and being able to block for him effectively. The NFL, outside of baseball, I would say, has the most in American major sports, right? So you have NFL, NHL, baseball, and basketball, obviously. But the NFL has had the longest running and standing presence of, in my opinion, racism. And you could see that positionally. It used to be well known back in the day, or it used to be a philosophy. Okay, if you're black, you can play DB. You should play DB, right? You're the fastest guy on the field. You're the most athletic, whatever. You get to play corner. But for some weird reason, there was like positionally, safeties were reserved. Those are for white people. Those are for the people that are smart, right? Because you have to lead the defense. We don't expect you to know all this stuff, right? You just go out there and be a great athlete and listen to your safety captain over there. That used to be the status quo. And it was even worse with, quarterback. How many great tall receivers never even thought about throwing a ball? That could have been amazing quarterbacks, probably made more money, got a lot of wins. I mean, you have early examples like Randall Cunningham, but for the most part, guys didn't know what to do with these guys. And the only reason that some of them had success running early on is because they were so freakishly athletic. It took Michael Vick for people to start thinking that running quarterback was a good style of quarterback. And really the league didn't even catch on until I would say 2015, 2016, Colin Kaepernick years. Today, if you're a GM, you got a guy, a big arm in college, great. Can he run? Is he going to be able to evade? I can't expect my O-line to hold up for 60 plays when they're getting battered by dudes like Aaron Donald out there, right? That can run 4.5 and they go for about 295 and bench 400 pounds. You know what I'm saying? Squat 7. All right. That's a lot to ask for your O-line. They can't block effectively every single play. They're being beat up, battered, and abused on every single play by these killers on the other side. So now what do? The guys that were early had really big success. Pete Carroll built his team around, defense and Russell Wilson and running the ball. Russell Wilson had like 4 straight years of an MVP campaign. Now, yes, there was the Legion of Boom. There was Marshawn Lynch. I'm not taking away from any of that. I think that's by Pete Carroll's design. But what a lot of people forget is that receiving core was nothing to write home about. He had Tyler Lockett and Golden Tate for a few years. That was the pinnacle for him. And I think he was there like 1 year with DK Metcalf, maybe 2. So it's not like he had these studs on the outside playing wide receiver. Golden Tate and Marvin Jones were the 2 guys he was throwing to for a while. These are not elite level guys that are going to take the top off and give D coordinators, fits. It's they're just guys. They're just receiver 2, receiver 3 type guys. Okay. Fill out a roster. You know what I'm saying? But, he was able to make it work because he could extend plays and run. And when plays break down and he had to improvise, that's when he played some of his best football. The new NFL is going to require mobile quarterbacks. I think from time to time, a guy that doesn't move very well with a huge arm and really smart and all this stuff is going to slip through, and they're going to say, well, we'll see what this is about. But if he doesn't have a great rookie season, look, the bar now for a good quarterback is, what can you do for me in your rookie year? We're going to start you right away. You used to be able to sit 2, 3, 4 years on the bench and learn from the old dog that was, still, playing old man ball with all of the knowledge and maybe half of the ability. And then, you took over. That's not what they want now. Guys are coming out of college and starting week 1, and they want these guys to be effective right away. You can't learn a fucking 300-page playbook in one off season, front to back, like the back of your hand, and it's the size of the Bible, and you're expected to know everything. So how do you compensate? Athleticism. Quarterbacks need to be mobile. And I hear this all the time. Oh, well, with their style of play, they're more of a injury risk. Actually, mobile quarterbacks are, you could look this up. I forget what the metric is. It's like that take 4 or more rush attempts a game or 4 or 5 rush attempts a game get injured less often than pocket passing quarterbacks because you're sitting duck back there. You get hit on your blind side and you're flat-footed. There goes your ACL. There goes your arm. There goes your shoulder. There comes the concussion. How's Matt Stafford look the past few games? Knocked the hell out, man. These guys nowadays are mobile because they need to be and they should be. There's still old heads in the game, old GMs that are looking for the next Peyton Manning, looking for the next Tom Brady. Look at those examples. Okay, if you want to talk about Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, the best two guys at that standing in the pocket and being nerds and in the film room all the time and all this stuff are also the two like greatest arguably all time. So if you want to look for that, great. Or you could say, hey man, this guy might be a little bit more of a project, but at least he can do something with his legs. We already know the arms there and the legs are there. We just need to get him caught up to speed with the playbook. Once that happens and you have team chemistry, you're just working with more tools. I'm an electrician, okay? Back in the 80s, guys used to cut pipes with hand saws, okay? You could have been the best, most knowledgeable, most sensible, best troubleshooting electrician around and figure out problems right away and be able to diagnose things from across the room. But if you come onto a job site now with all that knowledge, all that skill, and you come in with a handsaw, the guy with a miter saw, the guy with a sawzall, the guy with, a Panasonic skill saw, they're going to run circles around you because they're just going to be able to cut faster. It's just a faster means to an end. At the end of the day, the name of the game is scoring points and moving the chains in the meantime. If you're not moving the chains and if you're not scoring points, you're no good. It doesn't matter how perfect you can throw a ball. Sometimes guys are perfectly covered. It's the NFL. These corners are serious. These D coordinators scheme all week. They live to shut people down. That's all they think about. The one guy that's unaccounted for on the offense, at least initially now, is the quarterback. No one's running spies out there. No one's doing QB spies. The guys aren't athletic enough to keep up with the QBs that are running the ball anyways. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert. This is the future of the league, man. These guys can run. And even guys that you don't think of as running quarterbacks, like take Joe Burrow, for example, young gunner. He's way more athletic than quarterbacks from 15, 20 years ago. Have him do a foot race with Philip Rivers' prime, in Peyton Manning's prime, in Eli Manning's prime, in Ben Roethlisberger's prime, and see who gets more yards. See who gets to the sideline to move the chains for the first down faster. There's still subtle things you hear whenever there's a white guy out there. We all know, like, oh, that's such a hard worker and he watches all the film and he's a lunch pail guy, first one in, last one out. Super freaky athletic black guy. Oh, he's a freak athlete. Look at him. Some of these remnants and some of these old things bleeding through, even through compliment a guy. But if that's the only type of compliment you're giving out, I'm tired of hearing Lamar Jackson isn't a good quarterback. I'm tired of hearing, running quarterbacks are a higher injury risk. It's just it's propaganda, man. That the numbers don't support it. Josh Allen might be the best quarterback in the NFL right now. And he's like 240, built like a brick shit house, but he can run, man. He could say fuck it and tuck it, man. Even Daniel Jones, I would argue the only reason why he hasn't lost his job is because once every 3-4 games, he tucks the ball and he takes off. They clocked him at like 22 miles an hour last year. Justin Fields on the Bears, once they took the leash off and said, you know what, stop trying to sit around in the pocket, man. Fuck it. Just take it yourself. We don't care. How's that working out? How do the Bears look now in comparison to week 1 when Matt Nagy's old 1990 bullshit ass was coaching the team? The new NFL is a faster NFL, a more athletic NFL, and has more tools, and that's all. There's no lack of intelligence. Like some would like to say, oh, well, they don't even make reads anymore. They just tuck the ball and run. They miss guys that are wide open. Guys that all they do is stand down guys that all they do is stand in the pocket and make reads, miss wide open guys all the time. Okay? I had Mike Evans on my team for a good part of fantasy this year until I recently traded him. Tom Brady's missing wide open guys. Aaron Rodgers staring down Randall Cobb the first few weeks. Missing Lazard streaking down the sidelines. Guys are wide open all the time. That's not an excuse. And by the way, too, because of now the smart coaches that are adapting, they're saying, okay, you're going to start running. Your momentum's already going to be there. We're going to roll you out. And we're going to provide you with like a running back blocker potentially if you need to go. But they're keeping their eyes downfield. They're not just saying, fuck it, I'm going to focus on the run and try to juke out defenders. They're running they're running and looking until they pass the line of scrimmage, and then they're going. This new NFL is better, guys. It's better. The old NFL, we love Peyton Manning. We love Tom Brady as a player, man. But I don't think that's the archetype that they're looking for anymore, or they should be looking for. And if you are, I don't know, man. All the numbers are there for Derek Carr. How's that season going? All the numbers are there for, who's another example? The numbers are there for guys that are stationary as far as yards, pass attempts, completion percentage. They're not winning games, guys. And then you say, well, why are they losing? Why is Russell Wilson losing when he's been a winner his whole career? He's got Jerry Jeudy. He's got Cortland Sutton. He's got guys he can throw the ball to because he can't run anymore. The juice is gone. Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, he lost Devontae Adams, but he used to be a lot better at doing? Running the damn ball, man. I barely ever see Aaron tuck it anymore. Pat Mahomes is great and has been running and gunning since day one. And Andy Reid knew how to get the most out of him. This is a new NFL, guys. And if you are looking for Mr. Stand in the pocket, make 4 reads, and then get rid of the ball and always make the right play, well, I guess you're going to watch a whole lot of Tampa Bay games this season, because after this year, I don't think you're going to see much of that anymore. The NFL is a league of athletes. And quarterbacks are now having to be athletes if they want to win. So I think that's the future, man. It's not a trend. Running quarterbacks are not going away. It's just another tool that they get to use, and the coaching is finally catching up. And all these old, white, old school racist coaches or GMs or old school way of thinking, even if it's not directly racism, they learned from a guy that was from a different time, and some of that ideology bleeds through. It's out of here, man. These new young 30-something-year-old coaches, Sean McVay, LaFleur, some of these younger guys, The dude in Miami, I can't remember his name right now. These guys know what time it is. These guys know what's up. The old guys, there's a few of them that are good. You know what I'm saying? Andy Reid looks good. You know, how's it going for Bill Belichick over there in New England, man? It's a new era, baby. Garage Goons, most trash show on YouTube, episode 26. Like, comment, subscribe, and let me know who your favorite quarterback is, and if you disagree with me in the comments or agree, whatever, you know. And we